Electric football's wild card weekend. But first, I'd like to raise a toast to Donald E. Callahan, who passed on New Year's Day. Father to three great friends of mine and loving husband, just a brilliant man, electrical engineer, and man of faith and fatherhood. So here's to you, Mr. Callahan.
Godspeed, sir.
Now on to the games. Chiefs at Texans. I was actually traveling, so I did a lot of listening. We had that Sirius XM.
Oh, the NFL Network?
Yeah, it took me a long while to figure out that those were zeros and not O's when there was like New York Go.
No.
Anyway, and one of the things, lousy slate of 1 o'clock games, I got to tell you. But one of the things I did get to do is listen to the Texans versus the Jags. And I was really impressed by what I heard. Merciless and Watt. Oh, I know, it's a great football name. Everyone's seen our football names thing, so I won't even mention that video.
Well, 90 of you.
Whitney Merciless and J.J. Watt were just ripping the hell out of Blake Bortles. And Watt, again, won the sack championship. The Texans' defense has been on a serious roll, an elite level role in the last few games. And they're still going to lose to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a more balanced team.
Yeah.
Chiefs also have a good defense. And on offense, the Chiefs have been able to produce with the wide receivers, which was the trouble in past years.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I'm not as impressed by the 10-game win streak as a lot of people are. But Alex Smith, as the better quarterback in this game, the better game manager, that cursed term, surprisingly athletic, able to do stuff with his feet, and whoever they give the ball to, Ware, West, if Jamal Charles comes limping in there,
I don't think that's happening.
they're able to run. People want to look at Week 1 and the game that the Chiefs and the Texans had, but the Chiefs' offensive line has A, gotten healthy, and B, gelled, and I think that really makes a big difference in the second half of the season for the Chiefs. I'm taking them.
Yeah, and two similar teams here. Neither team has really been lighting it up offensively, and they're both more of a ball control offense, but they're both playing strong defense. 10-game win streak for the Chiefs, while Houston battled back from 2-5. Both teams lost their star running back. I mean, this is how similar they are.
Yeah, that's good comparison.
And they've relied on guys like Alfred Blue for the Texans and Can I Buy a Valve West for the Kansas City Chiefs. Dwayne Browner from Houston is injured last week, the left tackle, so that could be big. But Kansas City has a so-so offensive line, in my opinion. I don't think they're that great. And can they handle the pressure that the Texans are now, full force going? I think Kansas City has a 1-point better offense here, so I am going to take the Chiefs. Debating whether to watch the game or not because it's not two teams I pay much attention to.
You watch that game to watch J.J. Watt, who is one of the best defensive linemen you're ever going to see. He's already got 74.5 sacks and is rapidly moving up the all-time list. By the way, you want a guy that's underappreciated? Look at what Trace Armstrong did. People forget about Trace Armstrong. He was a sack machine.
And he played the last couple of years when he was with Miami. At least it was situational. So he was coming in and getting the sack on the one play a series that he was in on. Yeah. He was that good.
Fresh legs.
Yeah.
Steelers at Bengals. And Big Ben is evidently calling out his wide receiver, Bryant. A Clemson man, by the way. On an up note, let's go Tigers! Clemson, baby. I think
what was that thing you did? The Dawson?
I think I spelled it. Dabbin, baby.
Dabbin?
Right. And Dabo Sweeney got us going to the championship.
I
don't care if Alabama's front seven eat, chihuahuas for breakfast and crap out Dobermans. We're taking them apart.
I hope you're right, because we hate Nick Saban here in Dolphin Land.
Yeah.
So go Tigers!
Dabo is a friend of electric football, and Nick Saban is an enemy of electric football.
He's Satan.
Anyway, sorry. Steelers at Bengals. And, the Steelers, it's clear they need this to be a shootout. They need Big Ben to just outgun A.J. McCarron. They're talking about Dalton is getting a cast off, but it does not look like he is going to play. I like what McCarron has done. I think the kid is a leader, has been since Alabama. I think he's quietly efficient. I don't think he's ready for this
I
spotlight,
don't either.
but he is going against a frighteningly weak Steelers defense. I've gone back and forth on this game. I'm taking the Bengals
Wow.
to outlast the Steelers in a low-scoring game because I think the Bengals are going to take the air out of the ball, so to speak.
Oh.
Yes, it would have been better if they were playing the Pats, I suppose.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I do like the Bengals at home, and I think the Bengals are going to have a very interesting problem on their hands because I think Dalton will be back for the next game. And if McCarron wins a playoff game, what the hell do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. A.J. McCarron threw 3 picks the last time they played the Steelers. The Steelers knocked Dalton out. Well, really, Dalton knocked himself out on that play. D'Angelo Williams has an ankle injury, though, and I'm not sure how much that's going to limit him.
That's big, too.
Overall, Cincy has the better D, and the Steelers won the last Super Bowl by being the 6th seed and starting out in Cincinnati. It all began there for their last Super Bowl. So,
And that affects this game?
no, I'm taking Pittsburgh based on their overall postseason success, their experience in the postseason. They know how to win the big game, and they have the much better quarterback at this point, in
Yeah.
Big Ben. I'm taking the Steelers.
No, you can't argue it. It's a tough call, that game. The next game, unfortunately, is not such a tough call because we have the Seahawks at the Vikes. And I got to tell you, as a Viking fan, I was watching the Packers come back in the fourth quarter, and I was thinking to myself, good. I hope they beat us. As a matter of fact, I wish the Viking hadn't
So you want
gotten.
to go to Washington?
I wish the Viking had. Well, we would have gone back to the. We would have gone to the Packers.
Oh,
And I would rather have the Packers in Lambeau. I would rather be on the road in Lambeau than at home against what the Seahawks are doing right now. Russell Wilson has been tearing it up. All of a sudden, Tyler Lockett is this return machine.
mm-hmm.
On the opposite side, we've got Cordarrelle Patterson, who manages to rip off great returns and then blow them at the end. No, I'm serious. Twice I've watched him in big spots, and I think both were against the Packers. Gio, tell me if I'm wrong on that.
Gio?
First one, he goes and rips off a big return and then gets up and for some reason headbutts
Oh.
the freaking kicker who wasn't even in on the tackle. And on this one, he gets stripped by Mason Crosby after like a 66-yard return.
Who's 59 years old, by the way.
I'll tell you what, though. Watch the video. Crosby makes 2 great moves. He makes Patterson cut back, catches him, and knocks the damn ball loose. So the one spot where I thought we really might have an advantage in this is special teams. But having watched last week, I don't think we have that advantage. So Seahawks offense is clicking much better. Wilson being more efficient than more effective, than Bridgewater. Bridgewater's pretty damn efficient, but you know he put up 99 yards last week.
I'm rooting for him, man.
I'm rooting.
I'm an old school Vikings.
It's right there.
Tell you, I want the Jets, the Chiefs, the Vikings, the Dolphins. I want them all to get better at the same time, so I can pretend it's 1972
but go or 71, if you will.
or
But
71,
going into this,
but not 09.
going into the playoffs, you said to yourselves, what's the team you do not want to face? What's the wild card team that's the scariest? It's by far the Birds.
Absolutely.
It's the Seahawks. And I think, here you go, Bradley, I think the Seahawks beat the Vikes decisively this week.
Yeah, 38-7 4 weeks ago, Seattle beat the Vikings, and it could clearly be a game like that again. Let's face it, Minnie has certainly had a great run this year, but look what Seattle did to Arizona when the game counted. They flabbergasted them. I mean, it wasn't even a game.
They mollywomped them.
Oh man, they mollywomped them. But so you think Bridgewater and company can keep up with that? I really don't think so, unless AP runs for 300 yards, and for some reason Minnesota can contain Wilson on those little out patterns where he just runs out a few yards and leaves the pocket. He's deadly there. And if Lynch comes back for this game, oh boy,
Even worse for my boys.
yeah. So my money's on Seattle. I am rooting for Minnesota. No, not just for you. I like the Vikings are one of those teams from the 70s that I loved watching. But it's Seattle's time right now. They are the best team. They're playing the best of anybody right now.
Yeah, you know what's funny is they talk about the playoffs and they mention every team but the Vikings. They're
Yeah.
like, well, I think
they're playing Seattle. Watch out.
Carolina's got a great chance, and the Seahawks are really coming in hot. And I don't believe in the Packers, and they don't even bother to mention us. So that's a bad sign. Anyway, speaking of the Packers, Here's the one that I wish we had. I wish it had played out that the Vikings would be playing at the Redskins, but they are not. Excuse me, the Washington team. Packers.
Just say it. It's not offensive.
Packers at the Redskins.
Stop
all
it.
right, I'm going to rip up my politically
Nope.
correct notes. Packers at Redskins. What can you say? The Pack
You're
came
terrible.
up. Yes, I have never once made it from here to the garbage can. The Packers looked good one game recently, and that was against the Vikings at the Vikings. They managed to give that game back last week. They limped into the playoffs. The wide receivers do not get separation. Other than against the Vikings, Eddie Lacy has looked fat and slow, including on, oh God, who was it against? Where there was a fumble recovery and Lacy got him in the guy was just like, get off me. It was a beautiful thing. It was a week or two ago.
Don't recall. They lost that game too. Chicago.
So, you know, the ghost of Aaron Rodgers may rear his head, and you know, his accuracy is still amazing, even though his receivers aren't actually catching them in bounds.
Absolutely.
So, coupled with a bad defense and Kirk Cousins, last 3 games, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Very efficient offense. I mean, they were able to sit him against Dallas because they just had it wrapped up. I'm going with the Washington Natives.
Me too. I wish I could take Green Bay here, but you know they look like a shadow of themselves from the last couple of years. They're the least productive offense that they've had since Brett Favre back in like 2008, I think, or 2009. That's how bad their offense is this year. No, Jordy Nelson has limited their passing game. He was just so reliable. I think he made the others around him better. You had to worry about him. They don't have to worry about these guys as much. Lacy, while good, isn't great. Washington can't really run the ball, so it is going to be a shootout. You know, Kirk's won 4 in a row, and they are hot. But Green Bay has just lost their mojo. This is a fired-up Redskins team playing in a fired-up home stadium. I don't know when the last time they were in the playoffs was. But to have a home game the first week of the playoffs in Washington, I know that place can get nuts. It's one of the old school football places where the people are crazy and dressed like pigs. I am thinking Redskins.
Pigs in dresses, which I never fully understood.
When was the last time you actually dated one?
Yeah, if you, I've dated pigs in dresses, believe me. But if you look at the fans, you got the Oakland Raider guys looking like they're, you know, from Mad Max. You got the dog pound, a big guy with a bone in his mouth, and you got pigs in dresses.
There you go. That's really, you know, very, very intimidating.
I gotta tell you, I'd put that last. Anyway, this is Electric Football. We appreciate that you've watched us. We hope that you'll watch us through the playoffs.
And remember, every time you hear a bell ring, a coach loses their job.
Oh yeah, that's true. Big doings around here with the whole Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, that's another thing.
That's a whole nother show.
Watch the YouTube prognosticators on Facebook where you can catch us and all the other great prognosticators who probably put a hell of a lot more effort into their show than Steve and I do.
They're good
I think
people.
we have the best time.
They are good people.
So,
anyway,
Merry playoffs. See you.
Bye.